George Stephanopoulos, live from the Newseum on Pennsylvania Avenue.
Hello again. When President Obama signs his $787 billion stimulus plan into law on Tuesday, he'll set a new record. It will be the single most expensive piece of economic legislation ever in our history, and it passed without a single Republican vote in the House and only 3 in the Senate. So the voting is done. Let the debate begin. For that, I'm joined today by 4 key players from Capitol Hill. Senator Chuck Schumer, the Vice Chair of the Joint Economic Committee. Welcome. Congresswoman Maxine Waters. She's a senior Democrat on the House Financial Services Committee. Senior Republican on that committee, Representative Peter King of New York. And Senator Lindsey Graham, South Carolina, Senate Budget Committee. And I'm going to begin with your governor, yes, Mark Sanford, big opponent of the stimulus legislation. And I want to show everybody what he wrote in this morning's state newspaper in South Carolina. He says that for every job the bill creates, American taxpayers will spend $223,000. If we add the cost of this bill to the previous efforts of the federal government to deal with the financial crisis, the American taxpayer is on the hook for $9.7 trillion. If the stimulus bill were a country, it would be the 15th largest country in the world. Senator Schumer, he says it's going to be a waste, it's not going to work, and we're going to be paying for it for generations.
Well, you know, it's easy to say no. We have the worst economy we've had since the Great Depression. 500,000 people more losing jobs every month. The economy's hurtling southward. Yes, this is a big, strong, bold package. It's going to do 3 things. It's going to keep or create 3 to 4 million jobs. It's going to put money into the hands of the middle class so they spend it in the stores and restaurants and get the economy going. And it's going to create an infrastructure that not only puts people to work, but leaves something after, God willing, we get out of this. To do nothing risks a depression.
So what's wrong with that?
Well, I wanted to do something. I think we do need a stimulus package with a focus, and that's to create jobs in the near term. 11% of the appropriated money in this bill hits in 2009. Most of the money in this bill is in entitlement spending. It's not going to create jobs. 27% of the bill is now tax cuts. That's down significantly. And of those tax cuts, most of them, only $3 billion goes to small business. 75% of the people in this country work for small business. Of a $787 billion bill, $3 billion is directed to small business people. I think we missed the mark a long way. We increased new government. We did not increase new jobs.
And Congresswoman Waters, when this bill came out of the Senate at the end of the week, your speaker, Nancy Pelosi, had to quell a mini revolt among House Democrats who actually take an opposite view from Senator Graham. They thought the bill wasn't big enough, and they didn't like the cuts, particularly in state aid, education aid, that came in the Senate.
Absolutely. We worked very hard on that bill in the House. And as you know, many well-known economists say that this should be a $1 trillion bailout bill, that we need to put more into our economy. And we worked very hard on education, as you know. Our schools are in great disrepair in this country. We have children going to schools in deplorable conditions. And so we wanted more money in school construction. We thought not only does that create jobs, it's an investment in the future. And so those kinds of programs we really, really wanted to fight for. As it turns out, we have, through the conference committee, accepted the amendments from those Republicans who were willing to step up to the bat and at least do something for the people of this country. And so we lost on some of it, but it's a big win for all families and all Americans.
Only 3 Republicans, Congressman King, in the Senate, 0 in the House. And I have to say, it surprised me that 0 Republicans in the House went along with this. And for example, I know that you support infrastructure spending. I know you support Medicaid aid to the states, yet you vote no on this. Was this more taking one for the team so Republicans could be unified?
No, not at all. First of all, I do support the Medicaid provisions in the bill, but as far as the infrastructure, less than 9.5% of the bill goes to infrastructure on transit and highway construction. That was a key part to me, which was really severely diminished. As far as taxes, actually, Lindsey says 27%. Really, is only 18% in new tax credits because the fact that the AMT was put in, which would have been factored in anyway. So there's really only 18% in tax relief. We give more tax relief to the arts than we do to small businesses. And, you know, obviously we have to do a lot. I supported strong infrastructure, strong tax relief. We didn't do it. And that's why you had people even like Alice Rivlin, who was Bill Clinton's budget director, testified against the stimulus bill. Martin Feldstein, who had been for it, is now against it. And the CBO says over a 10-year period, it's going to diminish the economy, bring down the GDP, and actually cause a reduction in wages.
Yeah, the bottom line is, first, there's good help for small business. The NOL provision is kept in for businesses below 15. It allows businesses that have had losses to take those losses now so they don't have to pay tax instead, can put people to work. And there's going to be more for small business in the economic plan that the president is announcing. The bottom line is this. When you ask people what you need to do about this economy, the number one thing all economists, Martin Feldstein, who wanted a bigger package, he wanted a different one but a bigger one, he didn't want all of them say the great danger we face, George, is what they call a deflationary spiral. Prices keep going down, and once you get into that spiral deeply, you don't know how to get out. That's what the Great Depression was. To a lesser extent, that's what happened in Japan for 10 years. And we need to get out of it. And this is a jolt to the economy. It's a strong jolt. It's not perfect, but it certainly is a lot better than doing nothing, and a lot better, frankly.
No one's suggested doing nothing, Chuck. No one's suggested doing nothing.
Well, you know what? To say that $50 million in the arts is a reason to vote against it. Now, I happen to think the arts is an economic engine in New York, and I would be for that provision. But you might disagree with it. But to say that's the reason to vote against a bill when there are still on infrastructure, if you add it all in, there's close to $100 billion, if you, excluding water and sewer and high-speed rail. If you talk about the FMAP relief, that is much greater. That is 100 times greater, just about, than the money for the arts. So let me just say this. We had a lot of people who said, take this out, take that out.
That's right.
Most of those things were taken out, and they still voted against the bill.
The overall package, so much is missing, and that's the reality.
We took the amendments from those three Republicans who were willing to step up to the bat.
In the House, no one was allowed to take, no Republican was allowed to take part in the process. Not one Republican was allowed to take part in the process in the House.
That is not the truth. As a matter of fact, we should focus on when you had the opportunity to participate. Why not do what those three moderate Republicans did? Step up to the plate, offer your amendments. You know, we took all of their amendments. Do you know we reduced the neighborhood stabilization program by a couple of $1 billion? We reduced Head Start, Early Start, school construction. We took the amendments.
The fact is,
and one other thing,
not one Republican was allowed at the table in the House of Representatives when the bill was put together.
In the Senate, they were.
I'm talking about the House.
But let's just look at the Senate. The two biggest amendments that we accepted were Republican amendments. $70 billion, you disagreed with it, Senator Grassley, AMT. $38 billion, housing relief, Senator Isaacson. They still voted against the bill. We don't know what more to do in terms of bipartisanship.
Well,
how about the Senate?
If this is going to be bipartisanship, the country's screwed. I know bipartisanship when I see it. I've participated in it. I've gone back home and gotten primary opponents because I wanted to be bipartisan. There's nothing about this process that's been bipartisan. This is not change we can believe in. You rammed it through the House. You started out with the idea, we won, we write the bill. The markup, Chuck, in the Senate took an hour and 40 minutes. What's the AMT got to do with creating jobs? I don't care who put it. Yes, I don't care who put it in there. We had every Republican vote for a $440 billion stimulus package that cut taxes, had infrastructure spending, and helped people out of work. We blew it when it came to coming together here. Let's don't blow it on housing and banking.
But Senator, you're